Oh, ladies, I am back. We are here for day 2 of Overwhelmed to Divinely Aligned. I'm just going to pretty quickly check to make sure that this video is working and I can hear myself. And then, okay, yes. So it's working, and I just wanted to give you guys a couple seconds to hop on. And while I give you guys a couple minutes to hop on, I just wanted to let you know my intention for doing this training and this free 4-day course, and introduce myself a little bit. So for those of you who don't know me, my new friends and my old friends, my name is Allison Graham. I am a feminine empowerment coach, and I help overwhelmed women tap into their cyclical nature and creative flow so that they know who they are, what they want, and how they want to contribute in the world. And today is day 2 of Overwhelmed to Divinely Aligned. This course is based around feminine archetypes, and how you can use these feminine archetypes in your personal life, and how you can use this knowledge to expand your knowledge of yourself and to go from feeling overwhelmed and unsure to create more clarity around who you are and how you operate in the world. So I'm so excited for today. This archetype that we're going to be covering is the wild woman, and that correlates with the archetype of the virgin. And this archetype is a lot different than yesterday's. Yesterday we talked about the new moon energy, we talked about the hag and the avatar of the high priestess, and now today we're going to talk about the virgin. So yesterday the hag and the high priestess had this very red, dark, deep connection energy to it. And if you are a bleeding individual, or if you tap into the energy of the moon, yesterday's energy had to do with the new moon. So there's darkness, and today we're emerging from the darkness, and we're going to be talking about the virgin, the wild woman, which is the waxing phases of the moon, and this very vibrant energy, so this renewed energy. So I just kind of want to lay out a little bit really quickly, a little bit shorter than yesterday, but I want to lay out my intention for this course, and how this information, how you can utilize this information to really help you understand more about yourself and more about these archetypes. And like I said, yesterday I dropped a link in the comments. Today I added it in the description of the video itself. Also at the top of the video, I added some soul work, which is basically just homework. So if you do these videos, if you do this training and you're feeling called to share in the group, I give you a couple of prompts in the description of this video to allow you to kind of explore further into these energies and how they play out in your life. So I really believe that as divine feminine beings, we were put here, we are being called, we are being asked to really tap in, tune into this ancient wisdom, this ancient knowledge, right? This understanding of the world, that we can allow ourselves to grow and allow ourselves to change the whole landscape of how we operate in the world. So this information is really meant for you to come back into alignment with yourself and the collective. It's meant to give you a deeper understanding of who you are and how you operate. And like I said, I really encourage you guys to journal, to answer the prompts on the video, to use the workbook as a tool to greater understand this energy and how it plays out in your life. Also yesterday, I recommended that another great way to get a lot out of this course is to begin to track yourself. So I recommend that you grab a calendar, you write the first and the third quarters of the moon, and you get and you put the new moon and the full moon on there, and then throughout the entire month, you track yourself. So you can track your mood, you can track how your body feels, track your cravings, track your sexual tendencies and sexuality, track your power level. I would say track your, if you have any kind of vaginal discharge, just to keep tabs on, an overall snapshot of your life. And when you begin to track yourself, you begin to understand your natural cycles, your natural flow, and using your tracking in conjunction with this information can really help you to get a really strong grasp of what to expect yourself to feel and be and do normally, and how you can use that information to optimize your life, and also to understand what you need to watch out for, right? So say you're more prone to feeling really depressed and deeply insightful during a certain time of the month, you can kind of mentally prepare yourself for that, make your schedule around that, and really help yourself to understand how you operate in the world in a deeper way. And like I said, this is a 4-day training. This is day number 2. So yesterday we dove into the darkness, this new moon energy, this hag energy, and this high priestess avatar, right? This connection with as above, so below, this connection with this deep intuitive knowing. And today we're going to move into, I called today emerging. So we're going to emerge into the light. And we're talking here today about the Virgin and her avatar, the wild woman. So I just want to, again, tell you guys that all of these archetypes, all of these avatars play out in your life in one way or another. Every single day you embody a little bit of each of these. But the idea here is that if you can understand when you kind of play out one more than the other, or if you can understand when you're kind of lacking in one of these energies more than the other, you can use that awareness, that information to optimize your life. And it also gets you comfortable with the fact that you are a dualistic being, right? The fact that you are both darkness and light, and together this understanding makes you feel a little bit less overwhelmed, right? It makes you feel a little bit crazy. A lot of women say like, oh, I just feel like I'm just all over the place. You know, we're emotional beings. We feel a lot and we think a lot. And this information really allows you to grasp a container, a context, a kind of outline for these feelings and emotions. All right, so if anyone has any questions before I get started, feel free to drop them in the comments. And also as I go, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and I will answer them as we go. So let's start with the wild woman. Let's start with the Virgin. So yesterday we had this dark, deep connection, inward energy. And today we're going to be emerging through to the light. A lot of people really resonate with this one. So like I said, if you resonate, if anything comes up, let me know as we walk through these archetypes. So take a nice deep breath, and we're just going to do a visual guided meditation. So take a nice deep breath, close your eyes, feel your feet and your sit bones firmly grounded, planted into the space. Maybe you engage your core a couple times, wake up your creative center, your sexual energy center, your root chakra. And then you peel the tongue off the roof of your mouth. You roll your shoulders down and back as you take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Allow your chest cavity and belly to fill. And then exhale. Feel free to sigh it out. Again, inhale. Nice, deep, strong inhale. Allow your chest and your belly to expand. Feel grounded as you grow tall. And then exhale. Allow your shoulders to melt. Allow your belly to melt. Make sure your tongue is peeled off the roof of your mouth and your jaw is relaxed. One more time, a nice deep inhale. The deepest inhale you can take. Hold it at the top. And then exhale. Allow yourself to melt. Good. Now that you're calm and in a space of quiet, imagine yourself in a field, a wide open space with green grass and trees It's a warm spring evening. The sun is about to set. You're playing. You're in this field and you're playing. There's not a care in the world. You feel full of joy and contentment. You feel full of life. As you feel the grass underneath your bare feet, and you feel the wind gently blowing against your skin, you have a sense of childlike awe and wonder. Everything around you that you can see, that you can hear, that you can smell, taste, and touch is drenched in mystery. You move from one thought and impulse to the next without inhibition. There is no cares, there is no worries. You are completely in the present moment. You allow yourself to move freely and you express yourself fearlessly. You're unafraid to communicate with the plants and the trees, and you feel magnetic and strong. You have a vibrant sense of ease and grace. Feeling fully in flow, you allow yourself to be taken with the wind. No real direction, but still in faith and trust. This childlike play, these elements connect you with Mother Earth. You feel overwhelmed with joy as you chase a ladybug. There's a butterfly lands on your shoulder. You are the virgin. You are the wild woman. Take a nice deep inhale. And with your exhale, sink into this feeling of playfulness. Sink into the energy of the virgin. Allow the wild woman to resonate in your being. And when you are ready, feel free to come back into this space together. Take your time. Enjoy the feeling. All right. So, the virgin, the wild woman. Let's talk a little bit about what this feminine archetype, what this container really brings up, what this container, this feminine archetype has to offer, and how it kind of relates in the world and how you can use it and utilize it in your life. So I think a lot of women really relate and yearn to be the virgin, right? The virgin has a sense of beauty and awe and playfulness and wonder. It's something that seems to be really valued in our community at this moment in time, in our culture, right? Everyone wants to be young and carefree, and we're just bombarded by commercials and advertisements that tell us that we need to look younger and feel younger. And, this virgin energy, this childlike playfulness, this light feeling is really what a lot of women have kind of been conditioned to yearn for. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. That's just kind of how it is right now. And so the wild woman really represents the waxing moon phases. So after our darkness of yesterday, after the hag energy, right? The darkness, the deep introspection, the virgin kind of is renewed. She's like bursts out into the world and she's ready to be here and she is who she is. And there's lightness around her. And it's after, if you're in your menstruation, this will be the point in your cycle when you're post-bleeding, right? So it's after you bleed, you're renewed, your womb is renewed, your sense of wonder and mystery and awe for the world is renewed. The Virgin and the Wild Woman really represent spring. So again, if you can kind of tap into this feeling or tap into this idea of spring. So what happens in the spring, right? We have this renewal where flowers and trees start to bloom and bud. It's like this outwardness, right? So after the hibernation of the hag in the winter, we begin to move into the spring. We begin to bloom, begin to blossom. And this renewal energy, this movement out into the world, this showing your colors, showing your vibrancy, showing who you are to the world after your deep transformation of your darkness. This Virgin, this Wild Woman really speaks to that energy. So the Wild Woman really, or the Virgin, right? So this idea that, and I'm not saying virgin in the sexual way, again, it's virgin in this idea that you are renewed, you are whole just as you are, and you are outward, you have this vibrancy. And these waxing moon phases, right? So as the moon goes from darkness and moves into the fullness of light, it really speaks to, again, just as the spring speaks to this outward expression, this kind of dynamic energy. And the Wild Woman or the Virgin is really this energy that is like uninhibited. It has this childlike playfulness to it, right? So she's kind of innocent in this energy. You're pretty social, you're energetic, right? In the visualization, you're in a field and you're running around from one thing to the next, just uninhibited, allowing life and earth to take you wherever it wants. And it really has this feeling of just childlike awe and wonder. And this is such a potent energy to tap into, especially when we're talking about manifesting, right? And especially when we're talking about releasing resistance and allowing ourselves to just be as we are, unapologetically, uninhibited. Allow us to really know that we are these magnetic, divine, feminine beings. We are embodied in this beautiful wholeness of just being an outward, being this divine flower that's blossoming into this, that's blossoming and growing. And it just is how it is. This just is how we are. So this is a really beautiful energy to tap into when you are feeling really social, right? You might, when you're tapped into this energy, you might feel really social. Like you want to go out into the world. You want people to see you. You want people to make connections, right? And also this sense of being connected with the earth in a very childlike, very pristine way. And so this Wild Woman, this Virgin energy really has a lot to offer us when it comes to just like uninhibitedly creating, uninhibitedly just like voicing who you are to the world. And I feel like a lot of women kind of are disconnected from this uninhibitedness, from this wild woman who just like does what she wants and says what she wants and is what she is because that's who she is. And I also want to say that the colors, so we were talking yesterday about the hag, right? And the colors associated with the hag are these like dark, deep red and black. And that really resonates with the root chakra, right? This like grounding, but also this expansive energy, the base of everything. And this Virgin, this wild woman energy really resonates with the second and the third chakras. And the colors that correlate with the second and third chakras are orange and yellow. So a really good way to embody this energy is to either you can do like a guided meditation where you tap in, tune into that like orange, yellowy vibrancy. You can think of flowers that are orange and yellow and what kind of essence they give off. You can think of the sun and its fullness and this brightness, right? Also, the second and third chakras have a lot to do with, excuse me, your sense of self and your sense of creativity in the world. So your second and third chakras, orange and yellow, have a lot to do with creativity, ability to bring what you feel on the inside manifest into the outside world, and also your sense of definitely a little bit of sexuality, sensuality, being able to be connected to the earth, the moon, the stars, and all that there is, and also yourself. So again, it's really interesting that this wild woman, this virgin energy, has a connection to the second and third chakras. And I think particularly when you think of the avatar of the wild woman, you think of this wild woman, right? This woman who is uninhibited, this woman who is unafraid to be who she is in her fullness, and who is unafraid to express herself, not just creatively, but also sexually. And that is something that is really, for a lot of women, come across, or this is an energy that a lot of women kind of struggle with, being able to tune into your most primal, uninhibited sexual desires. And what's really interesting about this is a lot of women struggle with being okay with that primal drive, right? A lot of women struggle with being okay with this like primal drive to be connected and to be sexually just vibrant and free. And this energy has a lot to offer about how you can kind of relate that out into the world, how you can bring up your highest, truest self in this sense. And like I said, these energies are really potent because they all interweave and intertwine. And you could really take the qualities from each of them that you want to see manifest in your life and allow them to come to fruition, allow them to come through, knowing that you are worthy and beautiful and whole just as you are, and whatever desires you have in your heart and soul, and whether or not they're aligned with social norms or whether or not they're aligned with what other people around you believe to be true, you can still embody them. You can still really give yourself fully to who you are. And that's really the purpose of this training. That's really the purpose of this course, is to give you a deep insight into understanding that all of your parts are beautiful and all of your parts are worthy, whether or not, other people might think so, or whether or not you feel comfortable with them. Sometimes you need to feel your uncomfortable feelings. You need to feel the things that might not feel that great, or, like drives or impulses that maybe wouldn't normally be accepted socially, but you feel them and you embody them anyway. So if anyone has any questions so far, I'm just going to take a drink and take a moment to reconnect. And if you're hopping on, just feel free to say hi. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what it is when the virgin or the wild woman is out of alignment, right? So sometimes we have too much of this energy, right? We have too much of this like playful childlike wonder. The goal in all of this is to find balance, but sometimes we have too much of one, or too much of the energy. So I'm going to pull up my notes really quick and talk about what it means to have the wild woman or the virgin kind of out of alignment. And if you can think of this childlike wonder and play, something that comes along, something that could be maybe perceived as negative, would be that the wild woman might not be might be a little bit naive, right? She might be like so just like in her awe in everything, and that might lead to a sense of feeling naive, as if you know everything and you're connected and you have it and you're doing your thing and that's fine, and everything is wonderful, but you have this sense of naivete, right? Also, this also kind of brings this idea of being like overzealous, right? So like too muchness, but too much in a negative way. It also might lead to this feeling of being unrealistic. So you have unrealistic expectations or thoughts or connections. You just have this like kind of naive, overzealous, unrealistic. Or maybe if you have too much of this virgin or wild woman energy, you are really worried about what everyone else thinks. And this is probably one of the main out of alignment qualities that the virgin or the wild woman has, that a lot of women really see. When you're worried too much about what everyone else thinks, when you're kind of naive and overzealous and unrealistic, it takes you out of the present, and it takes you out of your true authentic feeling, your true authentic self. You know, there's so many women who always say like, I'm just worried about what they would think. And I'm just worried about what everyone else thinks about me. And that stops you from embodying this childlike playfulness, that it stops you from embodying this like fullness, uninhibited kind of creative being that you truly are. So some of those characteristics are what you need to watch out for, right? So being too naive, too unrealistic, too worried about what everyone else thinks. And I think that's probably the main one for this archetype and for this container, is that if you're too worried about what everyone else thinks, it stunts your creativity, it stunts your outward expression, it stunts your growth towards light, towards your wholeness, towards your blooming. Worrying about what everyone else thinks stops you from making those social connections. It stops you from feeling confident. It stops you from being active. Like an example, you know, you won't even go to the gym, even though you feel the draw to be active. You won't even go to the gym because you're worried, oh, I look, you know, I feel like everyone's going to make fun of me because I don't know how to use that machine, or I look fat in these pants, or whatever it might be. So that is definitely something to watch out for when you're tapping into this virgin or the wild woman energy. While it is really, really beneficial that it's playful and vibrant and creative and childlike, and while it's really great that it's independent and communicative, it can also kind of come out of balance when it feels like it's under somebody else's thumb and it's worried about what everyone else is thinking about her. So, right, like I said, these energies, they play on each other. So some days you'll be the virgin in her power. You'll be this creative, outward, expansive, magnetic being. And then other days you'll feel like the virgin and you're kind of out of your power. You're just kind of like bogged down by the weight of the world. You're too worried about what everyone else thinks of you. And you're just like, you know, a little bit naive. And I think that this virgin wild woman energy really resonates with this like feeling of your inner child, right? And I think a lot of women kind of have this crushed inner child that they have a hard time bringing up and through, because they've just been like kind of pressed down. They've kind of been, you know, pushed down by everyone else's opinions, and they just have been kind of skewed in their vibrancy. So if any of this resonates, feel free to comment. And like I said, there is the workbook that is in the comments there that I would love for you guys to use. Take a look at it, print it, do the journal prompts, really feel into this energy. And like I said, the colors of this energy is yellow and orange, which is your second and third chakras. And your second and third chakras really relate to your creativity, your sexual expression, your vibrancy. After feeling connected with the earth, you kind of have enough strength and stability to be outward in your expression. So this energy, again, just to give a little recap, has to do with the waxing phases of the moon. So this growth towards fullness, this growth towards light. Her season is spring, right? So this idea of blooming, blossoming, budding. Her colors are yellow and vibrant hues of like orange and even vibrant hues of green, just like this like very in your face kind of colors. The feeling that you get from this virgin or wild woman is this vibrant outward energy. You're growing in light, you're renewed, right? So we talked a little bit about how the dark hag energy is like menstruation. So like this idea of release. And this virgin energy is your post-bleed. It's your coming back to wholeness. It's your blooming and budding. It's your uninhibited and this innocent inner child. This energy is very social and energetic. It's magnetic. It's confident, and it's very, very active. So like I said, you can kind of visualize, like we did in the beginning, this kind of child walking around this field with their feet in the grass, just moving from one thing to another without any real, without any inhibition. And then out of alignment, this virgin, this wild woman really looks naive. She's overzealous. She's unrealistic. Maybe she's a little bit jealous. She's too worried about what everyone else thinks. She kind of has this like pressed down sense of like who she really is, unable to express, to communicate, to move through her creativity and her fullest embodiment of this expression. So a really great way for you to embody this energy. How do we utilize this virgin, this wild woman energy, this uninhibited drum banging, dancing, creative, expressive energy? And one really good way to do that is to go out and make connections in the world. Right? So you go out, make connections in the world, meet people, talk to them, listen to their story, share with them. This is a really good outward energy when you're feeling this way, or when you know, like when you start to track yourself and you start to see the ebb and flow of your cycle. This is a really good way. And this is a really good energy to embody when you're going out into the world to make connections. And when you communicate, so in communication, this is a very communicative sign, archetype or container. And, you know, when you do communicate, when you're doing something and you need to tap into this communicative energy, knowing that you're giving off a magnetic vibe, knowing that everyone around you is like, wow, that girl is such a light. She's so playful and vibrant, and you know, just sitting in that confidence of knowing that when you are communicating from this energy, it is magnetic and people are listening. And also another great way to kind of embody this energy is to play and create without inhibition. So maybe this is the time when you're feeling this energy that you take out an easel and you just splatter paint on the wall, like splatter paint on the canvas, right? Or maybe you just take your pen to paper and you just uninhibitedly, whatever comes out, let it flow. Or maybe you draw, or maybe you play an instrument, or you move, or you dance, whatever expression, whatever creative expression, to do it without really an agenda. This is not so good for planning, but this is good for just like brain dumping, right? So if you're feeling this like wild kind of energy, right? So you said the avatar is the wild woman. If you're feeling this wild kind of energy, move with it, embody it, allow yourself to kind of brain dump. If you have all of these ideas, write them down in your journal, allow them to come through you without worrying about kind of organizing them. I think a lot of women here get stuck in their head. And if you can embody this energy when you're trying to brain dump, when you're trying to come up with new ideas, just let it flow. Excuse me. Another really fun way to embody this energy is to do it through how you dress and what you look like. Because this is such an outward energy, and because this is a movement towards light, and because this is a blossoming, a blooming, a creative kind of feel, maybe you wear makeup and jewelry, and you know, maybe you get jewels and you wear vibrant colors of orange or yellow or pink or green, and you wear that funky flowy skirt with like a carefree top, or maybe, you know, you go out into the wild and you you wear your favorite dress and you bang your drum and you dance around uninhibitedly. So I think that this is a fun energy, you know. This is a really creative, expansive, kind of dynamic, vibrant energy that is really useful also in manifesting. This idea that we can use this energy to release resistance. So I keep saying the word uninhibited. And when you're uninhibited, that means you do not have any resistance, right? You're feeling carefree. And when I talk about manifesting, and when you talk about this idea of you can only effectively manifest if you get rid of that resistance. And this is a really good energy to channel, to tap into when you're feeling like the world is bogging you down, when you feel like the world is really kind of pressing in on you and you're feeling all this resistance and you have all these thoughts. Can you find a space, a place, an activity that can allow you to release this resistance? Can you do the meditation to tap into this wild woman, to tap into this virgin energy, to tap into this renewal and blossoming energy so that you can feel less resistant and allow your life to flow more easily? So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Yeah, that was awesome. Awesome. So like I said, this energy is really, really beautiful. And, you know, I just want to make a disclaimer to beware of having, like I said, being too much, like trying to be too much of this energy all the time. Like I said before, it's really important that we embody all of these energies and we realize how they play out in our lives. And sometimes if you're too much of the virgin energy, you're kind of like this overactive, kind of hyperactive ADHD kind of energy. And while it's really great to feel blossoming and budding and outward, it's really important that you understand that the balance of all of these energies is when you will personally feel the most balance and when you will personally feel the most aligned and alive and in line with who you truly are. Because at our very core, we are dynamic beings. We are dualistic beings. We really, truly embody all of these archetypes that I'm talking about all the time. But just to kind of put a label on it, right? Our brain understands the world in relations, and our brain loves to package things and container them. So that this training was a really good way to get you ladies to understand how we embody these energies, what they look like when you're in your power, and how they look like kind of when it's out of its power and out of alignment. So you have a marker for understanding yourself a little bit better, and you have a marker for understanding how you can utilize these energies a little bit better. All right, so if no one has any questions, I kind of want to close with another meditation to leave you in this vibrant, kind of wild woman energy. So if you want to close your eyes, just take a nice deep breath and allow yourself again to get settled back in space. Nice deep inhale through your nose. And exhale, let it go. And now I want you to envision a forest. You're in the forest and you have a drum. You created this drum by hand, and this is the first time you're playing your drum. The trees around you are blooming, they're budding, they have flowers, they're butterflies and dragonflies. The earth is teeming with life, and you are adorned with your favorite jewels. You feel vibrant, you feel expressive, you feel uninhibited. You have your drum, your source of power in your hand, and you have the stick, and you begin to beat your drum. As you begin to dance around the forest, your feet on the earth, not a care in the world, as you move to the beat of your own drum. You allow Source, You allow your higher self, this vibrant energy, to move through you. As the drum beats, you move with the rhythm. Allow yourself to fully tap into this moment. Allow yourself to move without inhibition. Feel the sun on your face. Feel the breeze in your hair. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back into this space. Good. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today. This has been so much fun. The Wild Woman and the Virgin energy has so much to offer us about who we are at our core and how we operate in the world. And so like I said, I have the workbook attached to the video. If you guys want to download that, feel free. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And if you're feeling inspired to share in the group, you can. I put a little prompt in the video description, and you can just kind of answer the questions and anything that comes up. When you're in the embodiment of this wild woman or virgin energy, feel free to communicate that with me. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. We will be talking about fullness. So thank you guys all so much for being here, for joining me, and I will talk to you guys soon.